Hello and welcome to Zeropoint Energy, with a 0 point what we talk about in just as much energy. I'm Sean,
This is Jorge.
and tonight we are talking about, I don't know, I kind of want to call it a Christmas classic, even though I fucking forgot it exists.
Okay.
And that is the 1994 Christmas heist movie that is Trapped in Paradise.
Paradise meaning a town in rural Pennsylvania. We're not talking about heaven, even though religion seems to be a recurring topic on this podcast.
Hey, I've been trying to shy away from it a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Okay, so have I, but I mean it comes out, especially it's one of those things I love, you know what I mean? I love religion and yeah.
I love making fun of it. So, yeah,
Agreed.
it's a passion. It's a passion
So-
of ours. We're always going to somehow manage to talk about religion.
Eh,
We like religion for different reasons, obviously.
yeah, I like the Passion of the Christ. You love to hate it and make fun of it, but yeah.
I mean, I like the Passion of the Christ too.
For different reasons.
I mean, who doesn't like watching Jim Caviezel get whipped?
No comment. Moving on. Okay, so we have 1994's Trapped in Paradise starring Nicolas Cage, John Lovitz, and Dana Carvey. I can't do his voice. But yeah.
Yes, and fun fact for those of you who are fans of Lovitz and Carvey, this was the first project they did together since they both left Saturday Night Live.
Okay, I knew Carvey was on Saturday Night Live. I never saw Lovitz.
Oh yeah, they were both on SNL through the end of the '80s. They both left around the same time. Like they were on SNL together.
I remember John Lovitz
Oh,
from a lot of movies in the 90s, but he was always kind of out there.
Yeah, he usually is. I mean, John Lovitz had a character on Saturday Night Live who was I forget the name of the character, but it was a compulsive liar. He would say something outlandish, and then someone would say, "Do you mean this?" And he goes, "That's the ticket."
I'll take your word
Like
for
if
it.
you remember a bit of John Lovitz ever just saying, "That's the ticket," that's him playing his compulsive liar character, which is somewhat of the basis for his Dave character for this movie.
I'll take your word for it. I mean, I like his comedy. His delivery is always so weird, but it hits my funny bone right there.
Yeah. I mean, for people in our age group who aren't probably super familiar with the name John Lovitz, you will know him as the voice of radio from the Brave Little Toaster, or as one of his probably most well-known roles is the film critic Jay Shalling on the animated show The Critic.
There was this one movie that I really, really remember. John Lovitz, and he was some kind of like king alien, and they kidnapped a family from suburbia.
Oh, that is Mom and Dad Save. I think it's Mom and Dad Save the Universe or Mom and Dad Save Earth. And yes, he plays the Todd.
The Todd. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's not even King Todd. It's the Todd. You have to say it that way. It's not the Todd. It's the Todd.
Mom and Dad. Okay, like,
I can't remember the exact name. I want to say it's Mom and Dad Save Earth or Mom and Dad Save the Planet. That's the movie where when you and me are joking around sometimes, I quote about stupid people, or there's a grenade that vaporizes people that has the words "pick me up" on it. So once you activate it, if anyone looks at that and picks it up, it vaporizes them 2 seconds later. And there is a bit where they set a trap, put this thing on a pillow, so when the Todd's army comes and raids the camp, they flip back the covers, see this thing, and start picking it up. And you see 2 or 3 of them get vaporized. And then like 10, 15 minutes later in the movie, they have this report from, "Sir, we need reinforcements. They're taking us out in droves." Like, how are they so powerful? And you just see this long line of extras going off into the horizon of dudes looking down, picking up the grade. "Pick me up." Huh. Vaporize. The guy standing right behind him who watched the dude get vaporized. Huh. Pick me up. Picks it up. Vaporize. And that's the bit. His army is so fucking stupid. They keep falling for it, even when they see the guy pick it up and get vaporized, and they still keep picking it up.
You know what? Fuck it. We're doing this movie next week. Seriously. Wait, we still got Christmas movies to do. Fuck!
Yeah. Oh, yes, this is part of our holiday extravaganza, kind of, sort of Christmassy movies. Although, Jorge did point out, this one's actually a fairly Christmassy Christmas movie for a Christmas movie.
I mean, it is. You got, what do you call it? What's it called? Two guys fresh out of prison and their brother who's basically living a life he hates. What's it called? John Lovitz's character brings them in on a score by literally lying, because like you said, he's a fucking liar, and then he brings them to try to score in Paradise, Pennsylvania, and then redemption ensues. Comedy and stuff too, but redemption. Mostly redemption. Really? You can't even get off of that?
Yes. Honestly, when they had the restaurant scene, I kind of wanted to go a bit longer because it reminded me of Blues Brothers when they go to recruit the maitre d'. Like, I really wanted to make them to make a throwback joke of how much for the little girl.
Oh God.
The women, how much for the women? The little girl too.
Also, I miss this type of comedy because this movie was so freaking out there. Okay, they were about to rob the bank. They have the guns and everything, and they're like, "There's no key." What? What are you talking about? It's at the manager's. Okay, where's the manager? He's out to lunch. When will he be back? 45 minutes.
45 minutes is that long of a wait?
It's not. But then instead, they go to the restaurant, which is packed full because of the lunch rush, and then suddenly they take out their guns anyways because they have no patience, and instead of just quietly getting the guy out of there, they bring the entire fucking restaurant to the bank too. How the fuck? Like, anybody could have bum rushed these guys.
No, I love when they pulled out the gun too, and the waitress starts moving toward it. They're like, "Where are you going?" Like, it's a robbery. I'm getting the cash from the register.
Yes.
I'm robbing the bank. The bank's across the street, man.
I know. Oh God.
Yeah.
Also,
I love this movie. That's why I love this movie. Like, I don't know why I forgot about it because I used to watch this movie so much as a kid.
okay, like, can you tell me what years? Because for me, that was more along the lines of like Home Alone and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Like for my generation,
this used to just randomly come on cable and stuff, pretty much all through the night. And it was one of those movies. If it was on, I wasn't changing the channel. I never sought it out to watch, but I never turned it off if it was on.
For me, it was what's it called? Since I can remember, I was born in '90, so like 93, 92, 93. I can remember specifically Home Alone. Again, no cable. Home Alone. This. Like once maybe because I remember a few scenes, and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles like on repeat every Christmas time.
Yeah, for me it was this, Home Alone 2, a couple of others, but I grew up watching a lot of movies. Like that was just something me and my family did. Like, we had a VCR my entire life, and it used to be a big thing to like go out almost every payday. So almost every Friday, and get 3 or 4 movies, and throughout the weekend we would watch these 3 or 4 movies that we rented. And then we had cable, so whatever came on cable we watched. But then when we got satellite, we still watched whatever was on satellite, and then you had even more movie channels and the occasional pay-per-view. We wouldn't rent that many pay-per-views, but we were still renting movies, even with having satellite and pay-per-view and stuff. We would still go and get VHS from Blockbuster and kind of an Illinois thing, JC Flicks, and other local video stores like, since I lived in the area, Midway Video and Airport Video and things like that. So yeah, we watched a lot of movies, plus the ones we bought and owned. Like I still have a decent stack of VHSs at home, most of which probably don't work at all anymore because they're old and watched 1,000 times and corroded, and the film stretches out and stuff like that. But yeah. Watched a lot of fucking movies as a kid.
No, I mean, what do you call it? For me, same thing. Literally, we had neighborhood, what do you call it? Rental places. Like before Blockbuster was like more affordable. There was the neighborhood places where you could get 3 or 4 movies for the weekend. We would always do that. Like it was a how do I say it? It was quote unquote a blessing because we saw a lot of stuff on TV. That's how it started. And then when we had more money because my dad got a better job, that's when we started renting videos. And then Blockbuster and yeah.
Yeah, same. Like we didn't really like Blockbuster was usually last choice because it was the more expensive option.
Exactly.
Usually we did the little neighborhood places. Plus the neighborhood places were a couple blocks away. So like my mom and dad didn't have to get up to go. They could send me and my brother because we're walking 2 blocks down the street. Nobody cared.
There are still movies I can remember, like the box art for that I can't find anywhere that I wanted to see. Like
yeah, there were a lot of movies that were like that too when I was a kid. Where like I remember that box, and every time I'd gravitate towards it, they're like, no, that's not for kids. Well, by the time I was old enough where I could rent it myself, it was like they don't have this movie anymore.
That's the thing.
And I'll never remember the name of it, but I know. Like, if you showed me a list of obscure fucking movies between 1985 and 1998, I bet I could find every one of them just by looking at the cover art or the promo poster.
I mean, hell, what's it called? One of the last places I know that for sure that's still around is the video strip. It's like on Archer by, oh, fuck, what the hell's the name? Here we go. 3307 South Archer. It's called the Video Strip. It's a few miles away, but it's an awesome place. You can still find all the old movies. Hell, some of the movies we've watched on here, we've gotten off from there.
Yes. Oh, speaking of finding some awesome older movies to watch, again, not a paid promotion, but this is probably the 3rd or 4th time we've shouting it out through the course of this podcast. Tubi. Tubi has been a lifesaver sometimes in finding these older 90s movies to stream.
Hell yes. Oh, God, yes.
Matter of fact, I was looking at their list of things that are coming off the site soon, and they've got another movie that's been on our list that we might watch before it disappears, or we might just let that one fade, and because it's on the list, but it's not high on the priority. And that's In the Mouth of Madness, the technical 3rd movie in the Thing trilogy.
We are not letting it slide. We are watching it.
But it's currently on Tubi, and it is in their section for leaving soon. Unfortunately, they don't tell you if leaving soon means 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, whatever.
Usually it's the end of the month, but you're right. Sometimes it is during the middle of the month.
Yeah, they've had a couple, like when we did, which movie was it? The zombie movie.
Oh, right. Wormwood.
That one was literally leaving the day after we watched both of them.
Well, thank Christ we watched it.
Yeah, we just dumb lucked out and were able to watch those back to back the night they were getting ready to take them off the site.
There was one we were planning to do a podcast on, but we didn't get to it. Phone Booth or something like that.
Yeah, there's 2 movies that are basically the exact same movie that came out within a year of each other, and I kind of want to do both of them to do a compare and contrast, and that is the movie Phone Booth and the movie Liberty Stands Still.
That's it. Yeah.
I personally prefer Liberty Stands Still. I think that was the first one to come out, and then Phone Booth came out after, but they are basically the exact same movie.
Come on, you also got to like Colin Farrell. Come on.
Younger, he was not that great of an actor. It took him a little bit to find himself as an actor.
Okay, I kind of agree, kind of disagree, because like the younger Colin Farrell also had a little bit of an attitude type thing that like kind of gave him an edge, you know?
Sure. He also was really shit at hiding his Irish accent.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't argue that.
It took him a lot of years to finally be able to pull off that American accent well. Like in almost all of his like movies from the late 90s, early 2000s, it's like he'd be speaking fine, and then, okay, that's full Irish. Awesome. We're in Dublin now. Like, I know that accent.
All right, back to the movie. We've gone all over the place. Movie. We got Dana Carvey, like we said, SNL alum. We do, but we got to try to keep it on topic, kind of.
Yeah.
Then we also have Nicolas Cage. Okay, I knew he was crazy in terms of like his comedy and doing stuff. I didn't know he was this crazy.
Nick Cage was full Nick Caging this entire movie. Okay. Like, anyone who has seen any Nick Cage movies knows what that means. He has turned himself up to 11, and he just stayed there. It's not as bad as he was for Ghost Rider 2. Ghost Rider 2, I think he might have cranked it up to 20. But yes, this is Nick Cage doing the full Nick Cage and one of the early full Nick Cage performances.
I mean, it's weird. He can do serious. He can do. I'm not saying he can't. I'm just saying he's still Nick Cage.
This is one of the few actual comedies he's done that was intentionally meant to be funny, and when he does the full Nick Cage, it just adds so much to the humor to it. And I think part of that for this movie is because George Gallo, the director, was a very hands-off director. He kind of didn't want to do this movie. No one knows why he actually bothered, because he also kind of helped write the movie.
I was gonna say, he's got a writing credit on it.
Oh yeah, he's the writer of the movie, but he didn't want to actually do any work to direct this movie. So a lot of times, especially for the trio scenes with Lovitz, Cage, and Harvey, he just told them, do what you want. Even to the point where Nick Cage stepped up and basically directed half the movie.
That I didn't know. Damn.
That's why, especially the first half of the movie seems so disjointed. It's these scenes are just okay, what's going on here? This makes no fucking sense. They had to wait for an extra to walk in the scene before they figured that someone told them, you're supposed to be interacting with that now.
Okay, for me, it didn't seem like that. To me, it seemed more like the first half of the movie, or actually more like the first quarter of the movie was more serious than it was supposed to be. And then the last 3 quarters were actually you know what, let's fucking have fun. And they had fun, and it fucking worked.
Yeah, but it's all the pre-heist scene. They just seem so disconnected. Are we shooting 5 different movies here? Okay. It's one of those scenes is a John Lovitz heavy scene. It was okay, cool, we're shooting a John Lovitz movie here. Then we're shooting a Nick Cage movie here. Then it's a Dana Carvey movie. Then it's a Florence Stanley movie, which Florence Stanley is awesome. She needed more screen time in this movie.
I loved her. I couldn't place her, but I mean, her audio, she delivers everything like a fucking champ, and the attitude, she reminded me of a proto, what the hell's her name? Love and Marriage. Fuck. Al Bundy. What's her name?
Al Bundy.
You know who I'm talking about, though.
Al Bundy?
No, but
Peggy?
Peggy. That's it. She reminded me of Peggy, but with more attitude, less lazy.
What? Peggy with a smoker's cough?
Yes, exactly.
Well,
Married with Children.
That's another thing. Yes, but that's another thing with people in our age group. You'll know Florence Stanley. If you don't know her visually from seeing her, you would know her from her voice. She is the voice of Grandma Edna on Dinosaurs. She was also... No, Grandma Ethel. I'm sorry. Edna was the character she played in this movie. But she was Grandma Ethel in Dinosaurs. But also, the one everyone's going to know. She was Bertha Packard in Atlantis.
That's what I thought. I wasn't sure if I was right, but that's what I thought. Yes.
Yeah. The chain-smoking radio operator, Ethel, Bertha. Yep, that is Florence Stanley, who is also a Chicago native. I have noticed that we accidentally watch a lot of movies where main cast members are Chicagoan. And that's not us trying to find local artists in movies. We just happen to find local artists in movies all the time.
Also, according to what I'm seeing, she was actually pretty cute in her youth.
Yes. Unfortunately, she's always had that voice.
That sucks. Oh, wow. I am so sorry. Also, apparently she... Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no. I wouldn't say anything.
Also, apparently she passed away in 2003, so God rest her soul.
Yes, she did.
Okay, at least I say God rest her soul. You're like, yep, she did. Really, bruh?
Yep.
Have some compassion.
Hey, man, people die. It's the way things are, unfortunately. I mean, it's true, unfortunately. I don't know. It's hard to really think of things to say for people dying. To me, it's normal part of life. It's the end of it.
We're not getting philosophical here. We're moving on. I'm not doing that. I'm trying to lay off the religion too.
I mean, we can go on with. We got more dumb fun facts for the movie. I got that. Dana Carvey playing Alvin he is a full absolute kleptomaniac, meaning if he sees it, he has to take it. And it's not even just the compulsion. He is a fucking human magpie. Ooh, in my pocket.
Yes. Oh God. Okay. One thing about Dana Carvey, usually he's a little louder, if you know what I mean, as a performer. Okay. Here he was actually pretty fucking quiet, and I don't mean he's not present. I mean like
No.
I expected him to actually like how do I say it?
Well,
Like feed off of Lovitz a lot more, if you know what I mean. Like them two bickering would be fucking hilarious.
you get that a bit. You
A
see
little
it more
bit.
in the background. Unfortunately, a lot of his performance for Alvin is in the facial tics and the facial expressions. And a lot of his scenes, you see him in the background, but he's in that soft kind of blurred focus because they had the hard focus on the foreground with Cage, because Cage was the bigger name at the time.
Yeah.
Which, fun facts about what he mirrored that facial expressions on. It's Mickey Rourke.
That's pretty
He's
funny,
imitating,
actually.
he's imitating Mickey Rourke with a lot of the facial expressions. And the voice is based on a producer that he used to know, who he worked with.
Oh my God, who actually has that voice?
Well, I mean, it's not exact, but yeah, his whole performance as Elvin is based off of this one producer that he used to know, which I forgot the name of, but all the facial, the how he's holding his upper lip out, that weird smile he pops in every now and then, that is entirely Mickey Rourke, pre the plastic surgery debacles that gave us the Mickey Rourke we know now.
It honestly, the voice kind of annoyed me after a while. I was just like, I know what you sound like. Don't do that no more.
Yeah, it could get a little grating at times, but it was the fun part.
Like, okay, like that's the weird thing. Like, certain voices just aggravate me and others don't. Like, okay, what the hell's her name? Fran Fine, the nanny.
Fran Drescher.
That's
Yeah.
it, Fran Drescher. I could listen to her all day. Frickin' Janice from Friends. I could literally listen to her all day. And the voices don't bother me, but for some reason, his voice just no. I don't know.
Yeah,
why.
no, I get that. I know. I think that's the point, though. Alvin is not meant to be the character you kind of sympathize with. He's more the character you feel sorry for. It's like, okay, you be quiet now. Like he's the little kid that you just put off in the corner all the time and no one listens to when he's actually trying to make an important point.
That's another thing.
Because no one wants to hear him speak.
Yeah, but I mean, his character's nice enough, but he's a kleptomaniac, like you said, and at the same time, he's such a fucking like he was the whale man the entire time. He's like, how about what's it called? When Cage was taking the wife of the bank manager over to the diner, he's like, "Where are you going to the diner?"
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh, can you what's it called? Let's go get some stuff." And he's like, "No, you stay here." And yeah, and he came anyways. Just
No, he told him to go.
oh.
He said, "Oh, where are you going? Like, where are you going? Are we almost done? Because I'm starving." He's like, "We got to go over there to get the manager's key." Like, okay. And then he goes, "Let's go." Okay, cool. And he follows him in.
Yes.
But then he's literally like, he's stopping and sitting and, "Ooh, that looks good. What's that? A scrapple." He's like, "I'm having," like, "Alvin, the fuck are you doing?" "I'm having scrapple. It looks delicious." And then later, when they're marching everybody across the street, when he's getting back into the car, she repeats the recipe for scrapple because he was sitting in and talking with the waitress on the way out. So she told them how to make scrapple.
Yes, I was like, holy shit, this guy could talk to anybody. What the?
Like he's that, like, again, he's that non-menacing, just sweetly kid that nobody pays attention to, that everybody just feels sorry for. So it's like, oh, he's robbing us, but he's a good guy. Here's how you make scrapple.
Hey, now, big guy. Hey, we don't say the R word no more. Come on, I know there's something you want to say.
Oh, I forget the reply to that one.
Oh, fuck, fine. Okay, whatever. Moving on. I'll just take that out or some shit.
Nah, leave it in. It's fun.
Fine. Okay, like
always leave that dumb shit in.
Fine.
It makes us human.
Fine.
Yeah.
Like, okay, another
Um,
thing. Like, they, what do you call it? This town is so fucking, like you said, the interaction with the bank manager, the restaurant, they were fucking willing. They literally came, everybody, back to the bank.
oh, oh yeah.
Why?
Because they don't care what happens as long as you don't fuck with the Winterfest. Like that's their bread and butter. This whole town only exists for the Winterfest, which throughout the movie we never get to see what the fuck the Winterfest is because after the heist, a blizzard rolled in, so Winterfest gets canceled anyways.
If not canceled, at least rolled over for a couple of days. But yeah,
This whole thing that they're hinting at that takes place on Christmas night every year, we just don't get to see that as the audience, even though they seem to make it seem like this is this town's identity. This is why anyone even comes to paradise. This is why people live in paradise. This is what paradise is. And even everybody's so willing to accept and help with literally helping with the bank robbery. And then when the bank manager goes, yeah, well, that money was actually to help pay for the Winterfest.
No, hold on.
Everybody was making these big.
Before you get there, hold on. Okay, we have to mention what happened. Okay, literally, these Alvin leaves them behind because of some traffic stuff, and they're like, "The fuck are you going?" They had just gotten the bags.
Oh,
They were out there, and then
he's fantasizing in his head that he gets into a traffic stop with a cop. You know, so he's literally sitting and talking to himself that a cop has come up to the window. And he's just kind of playing with the accelerator, revving the engine. And then he just floors it as soon as they come out and try to get into the car when the cops are coming.
and
Because
then
his fantasy has become reality.
and then they're like,
Twice,
"The fuck?"
Cage and Lovett are trying to jump in the car, and he does it. And I love the third time he goes, he's going to do it again. He's going to do it again. If he fucking does it again, I'm going to shoot him.
Yes.
I'm going to shoot him. And I love how many times they say the word fuck in this movie, considering it has a PG-13 rating.
I was
So
going to
back in the
mention
early
that.
90s,
Yes.
They gave no fucks about it.
Oh, I wish things weren't so fucking restrictive now. Yeah, but and then what do you call it? So after they get back in the car, then they're riding, but then what's it called? It was like not truck stop. What's it called? A stop. They're stopping them at the from leaving the town. So then they're trying to race away. No, I'm wrong. Okay,
Yeah,
so there's a cop car.
No, but there's a cop car, there's a state trooper that they pass. And like, okay, be cool. We're just three guys driving in a blizzard. It's fine. Nope, he's coming after us. He's gaining on us. He's like, I don't have my snow chains.
Doesn't matter. Drive.
Alvin's whole response is, I don't have my snow chain. If I don't have snow chains, I can't outrun the cop. I need my snow chain.
But then he still tried to outrun him, and then unfortunately got into like some kind of sliding thing and went off a bridge. And somehow the cop didn't see that and just raced past the bridge.
Yeah.
How did the cop not see that though? I mean, it did.
And then the Good Samaritan comes by, sees them go off the road, who was behind the cop, by the way. So
Yes.
He saw them, picks them up, and takes them back to where they came from.
And somehow they They still had time. You find out later in the movie that they still had time to push the car into the river.
Yes, they slid it. Well, it was on the water, so it might have just fell off on its own.
True. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's
but that
assumed.
was the Infinity that was the Affinity they're driving. I think the car they used for the Gatorade, the Crown Vic that they had, I think that they pushed in when they were changing their clothes and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and that's what the kids saw.
Yeah.
So then, after that, they go to dinner at the bank president's place.
Yes.
Then they meet the beautiful, what is her name?
Sarah.
Sarah.
Who is played by Madchen Amick, who it's another one of those of people in our age category would definitely know her well because she was Shelley on Twin Peaks. All iterations of Twin Peaks. Even the current reboot of Twin Peaks that was airing, that started in 2017, Madchen Amick plays Shelley. She's also the main character, Tanya, in Sleepwalkers.
Haven't seen Sleepwalkers, but I'll check that out. But what do you call it?
For the younger viewers who don't know what good TV is and watch absolute shit, she also plays Alice Cooper in Riverdale.
I liked her up until you said Riverdale. God damn.
I hear you trying on. I hear it. I can hear the tension in you. You want to defend it as a decent show. It is not.
No,
It shits
no, I
over
don't.
everything that is Archie and the Jughead.
I agree with you. I hate Riverdale, okay? But I will defend till my dying breath Sabrina.
Nope, it shits all over Sabrina too. Honestly, the Melissa Joan Hart, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, is more accurate to the comic than the Sabrina show that was on Netflix.
Okay, no, the Sabrina show. Okay, we're going into this. Fuck it. Okay, the Sabrina show on Netflix was based off of the one-shot. What do you call it? Sabrina Halloween like horror comics that they had like 3 years ago. Number one. Number two. Okay, based just on the mythology of the 16th century in terms of the church and witches. It was really well done.
Oh yeah, like it's not a shitty show in its own right. It's a shitty interpretation of what it's meant to be.
I can half give you that, but fine. I'm glad we agree for the most part. Continuing.
So people in our age category would know her for the actress who played Sarah for those roles.
Now, after they have dinner and they feel guilty, they leave again. And then when they leave,
Yes.
we find out that their mom has been kidnapped by the father of Sarah, Vic Mizuchi.
Yes.
And we'll find out later, but John Lovitz' character lied. Which, obviously, he's a pathological liar, but he lied about the relationship between his daughter and himself.
Yes. Like he lied so much. Everything's a lie. Everything's a lie.
Except for the cake at the
This
end.
whole entire movie's a lie. True. The one time the cake is not a lie.
I'm glad you got that.
It is moist. It is moist and spongy. And
Why?
well frosted.
You had to say moist, really?
Moist. I always have to say moist. I have to.
Okay, for our viewers who have sensitivities about that word, my apologies. Wait, viewers, hearers? What the hell would you call it? Viewers, hearers?
Listeners.
Fine then, fuck it, listeners.
I mean, technically viewers, I'm sure there are some people who actually are enthralled by the little slideshow we put with these. If you are, yay. We do try to find interesting images sometimes.
Sometimes, motherfucker. I was gonna say, like, do not belittle my work.
90% of the time.
There we go. Anyway, so basically they scammed Vic out of his money because he knew about Paradise and the heist and it working well. Then they kidnapped their ma. Then from there they trying to leave on a boat. Unfortunately, Alvin gets overboard. They get rescued by 4 old people forming a chain to get Alvin. And then the other guys literally go onto land and try to run for their brother. And then they have to wait for him to warm up. And then afterwards, they get taken to church at some kind of congregation thing. I didn't know that other religions had midnight mass. I thought it was just Catholics.
It's mostly Catholics. But there, especially for Christmas, there's a Christmas and New Year's. Most Christian type religion have a midnight mass.
Or service in their case, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, especially for the religions that wholeheartedly preach that Christmas is the day Jesus was born. So pretty much all forms of Christianity. They're wrong, but that's what they believe, so go for it. I mean, obviously he was born in May.
I thought it was like there's some people who say like March or April, and then there are others that say like June or July, if I remember correctly.
I mean, if you go by when it should have been possible to see the North Star the way it's depicted as being able to guide people to Bethlehem, then it has to be mid-May to early June.
Around there. Okay, so yeah, for the most part, yeah. Like,
but based on the weather type and stuff at that time of year, then it would be sometime between mid-April and early May.
Like, I've even heard of some people who say, what was it? I really should prepare notes for this stuff. There were some people who say that Jesus' birth was, I forgot why it was in July, but no. Traditionally speaking, what do you call it? We still say, in the Catholic Church at least, that we celebrate it in December, and then the actual birth or something like that is still considered like not a saint's day, but you know what I mean, one of those holy days.
Yeah, that's the conception.
That's it, conception.
If we accept that Jesus was born on Christmas, or at least at that time of year, mid to end December, then he was conceived sometime in early to mid-May, which would be the time when the North Star is up at the highest point, which would also give time to travel by foot for the three wise men to come from multiple countries, walking or riding camels. And there is technically an explanation for they followed the star. Well, the only time they would have been able to see the star would have been in May. Apparently, that's when God fucked Mary.
No, but there was also a day when supposedly, like, yes, he was born this day, we acknowledge it, but we celebrate that day. Deal with it. Like, that's the way I heard it from somebody. I forgot who, but yeah.
But, there is the other take, which is the most realistic take on the whole Mary, Joseph, and Jesus story, where Joseph is the original alpha cuck.
Why does everybody say alpha cuck? Just say cuck. In all seriousness, I mean, hold on. I agree. I understand what you're going to say. Alpha cuck.
Okay, then we'll go proto cuck. He is the cuck to come before all other cuck.
Okay, let me put it this way, okay? There's a reason why we call it cuck, horned, or whatever, because there's multiple languages out there, how they refer to it. Like, because it's happened before. You can't call it proto. Come on, it's just like another one. Because human history, at least six...
But how many times can you say, the creator of all life fucked your wife, and then you had to raise its baby?
I hate you. I fucking hate you. Just moving on.
That is the definition of cuckoldry right there.
Cuckoldry, first of all. Second of all, fuck you. Third of all, moving on. Okay, so then they get saved, and you know what? I'm just going to go with it. Cucked or cock-blocked from leaving by the old people, and then they go to church. Not really, because they don't even enter. Everybody in town, it looks like, goes into the church, and it doesn't really look like that big a church. And then they capture the sleigh and horse that belonged to Tom, the son of the sheriff, and the horse's name is Merlin. Tim. I thought it was Tom. Tim?
Yeah, it's Timmy.
Timmy, fine, Timmy.
It's Deputy Timmy.
God damn it, you had to do that. Fuck you. Okay, and yes, Timmy is a little bit special. We'll go with that. And
hey, they outright say it. Timmy is slow. They said it in the movie.
They said a few things in the movie.
Slow.
They said a few things in the movie.
They used the hard R in the movie. The other hard R.
I was gonna say another word, but we'll leave it with that. Anyways, then
neither of us are melanated enough to say the other word.
I wasn't gonna say that, you bastard. Moving on.
Well, Leona, back to the church. It's them going to church is what clues them in, especially Nick Cage's character Bill, as to the whole point of why Winterfest is so important to the town and why the bank had so much money. Why Anderson, the bank president, was pushing everyone in town to set up these Christmas club account to save extra money. And it was to help pay to renovate the church. So it's literally the money of everyone in Paradise was meant to go to the church. And that's why Bill does with the money what he does at the end.
What? I'm pretty sure you're wrong about it. It sounded like they were trying to basically put money away and then have it pay dividends in order to actually keep the town alive, which is a good idea, especially if everybody's putting the money together into one big, let's say, pile. Put it away for a year, and you can build that year after year. That's a lot of money. I mean, the power of what the hell is that called? Compounded interest. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, but everyone in town is also very religious, so they've all been going to church to pray for something to help keep their town afloat. That's why he takes the money to the church.
Oh, okay. I thought it was
the
just
money is help. The main part of the money is to help revitalize the town and help draw more tourists in, other than their once-a-year Winterfest thing. They want more people to come year-round because they are apparently, according to the road sign, which we only see at the end of the fucking movie, they're like at this intersection of like 4 or 5 major highways. So like if they can get more people to actually stop in town instead of just driving through town, it would really help. But to do that, they need money so they could make everything prettier, really revitalize Main Street and that.
I mean,
or make a really beautiful church that is this icon you can see from the highway, because the church is closer to the highway than the rest of the town, because the church is just outside the town.
Okay.
I mean, how many times have you been driving, you see this really nice looking, really cool looking cathedral, and it's like, I wish I had time to go that way, or if my route takes me there, I'd like to stop and really look at that, because really cool Gothic architecture and things like that.
Bro, when I used to work in insurance and I literally had to drive up and down the state, I literally would stop at different churches. Hell, I stopped at libraries just to take a look at what they had. That's how I found out that Calumet City's library actually has so much anime. It's fucking amazing.
A lot of the libraries in smaller towns and stuff, or even just outside of the city of Chicago, have a ton of anime and manga and stuff like that in it. Even my local library, since I live out in Rolling Meadows now, the Schaumburg Library and the Rolling Meadows Library, me and Holly go to on a regular basis. They have a bunch of anime and foreign movies in their movie section that you can check out, but they've got they have a dedicated section of graphic novels down in the teen area in the basement.
Nice.
Yeah.
No,
so,
I mean,
no.
Like, even these kind of movies make me want to visit small towns. Like, John Hughes movies. Now I know that town doesn't exist. Okay? Not all of them take place in the same town, but you know what I mean. And then, or freaking Groundhog Day. I wanted to see Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania until I found out it's in Illinois. But you know what I mean. They filmed in Illinois.
Yeah. Well, Shermer, Illinois technically exists. The setting of most of the John Hughes films. It's Sandwich, Illinois.
See, I did not know that. New road trip idea. Sandwich, Illinois.
I mean, not all of it is in Sandwich, but a good chunk of it is in Sandwich. Like the high school that they shot
Breakfast Club
in, and that is the Sandwich High School or the Sandwich Library. It's one of the public buildings. It's either an actual high school or like that main exterior shot is actually a library, something like that.
Nice.
But I think the interior is the actual high school and the exterior is the library that's down the street. Some shit like that. All I know is Shermer, Illinois is technically Sandwich, Illinois.
But you get my point. Like, these kind of movies, I wanted to see all these places. I've seen a bunch of small towns now just because they were featured in movies, or supposedly this is where they filmed. But no, they didn't film there. But still, I wanted to visit,
No, this movie was filmed almost entirely. Like, it was mostly filmed in Canada. But a good chunk of it was filmed in the city of Elora, Ontario. And especially for those lake and river scenes, which were all shot on the Grand River, production actually had to pay to ship away a couple of giant blocks of ice that they cut out of the river so that they could do the scene where he crashes through the ice on the boat. And the scene where the horse and sled are running and the sled starts to drag the horse back into the river, so they have to go and save the horse. Like, they had to actually cut some big chunks of ice out so they could get the flow, and so that the ice on top would be thin enough for them to do scenes where it broke. And the locals were so concerned that those big blocks of ice would fall back into the river, or because they cut the chunks out, that it'd create ice flows that would go downriver to this big bridge, which was the last remaining covered bridge in Ontario at the time, that they had to pay to ship those blocks of ice away from the production site.
I mean, makes sense.
So, like, they couldn't just drag them up on shore. They had to put them on trailers and drag them away and just put them somewhere to melt. That's, like I said, that's dumb fun facts. I know a lot of dumb fun facts about movies. I don't know why.
I like it. You could bring more to the podcast. One thing about this, though, like, this movie specifically has, like, I didn't know the entire town was completely religious. I kind of figured because of the church scene, but at the same time I was like, this town gives me so much hope for humanity. These guys try to leave multiple times and basically get rescued by small town people who want to help them out. Hell, freaking the bank president literally gave them gifts that he knew were clothes to them so that they could feel warm in fresh clothes that wasn't wet and such when they came in after getting off the bridge.
Yes.
I mean,
well, that's the thing. Like a lot of small towns like that, like small town America, small town Canada too, they are usually religious. Like what is usually the community gathering point is usually the local church. It's usually the one building that's big enough to house most of the population of town.
come on, what about the Ag Hall?
I mean, yeah, you can put most people in the AG Hall, but I'm just saying, like a lot of times the church is the big building in town because the churches don't pay tax.
True, actually,
Even
yeah,
in Canada,
you got
the
it.
churches don't pay tax. So they could build these giant buildings. And in small town America, they do it the right way. They make a multi-purpose building that they let everyone else use when services aren't in session. Whereas you get the big evangelicals who build these giant, massive churches, or in the case of Joel Osteen, literally buy a football stadium. And then when people are in need of a giant place to find shelter or just to be in one central location, no, you can't come in. This is private property, or you have to pay.
Or they lock the doors.
That's not the Christian way.
No,
But I
it's
can
not.
get locking the door. Locking the doors makes some sense because not every place is friendly and nice. So locking the doors at night and stuff, there's a very few churches that are still open 24/7 just because of the way of the world nowadays.
I forgot the name of the church,
But-
but I agree with you. But just to share, they used to have a 24-hour adoration of the Santissimo, the holiest of holies. You know, church and church, Jesus in the wafer, and people would pray 24 hours and stuff, and it used to be open. But then somebody vandalized it, and they put a lock with a code, so people could still at least come. But you get the idea. So nobody could come and vandalize it again.
Yeah. When I was a kid, there was one of my neighborhood churches. They did that. They left the doors unlocked all the time, and then when somebody vandalized the church, they put a keypad on. But everybody who was a member of the church got the code. Even when they changed it, it was printed in the newsletter that was handed out every Sunday. So as long as you were going to service on a regular basis, you knew when the code was changed. So you always had the code to come in anytime you needed or wanted to use the church. Little interesting things.
Yeah, just interesting. Kind
I mean-
of sad, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, back to the movie and dumb interesting facts. The movie, the main reason that the trio get trapped in town is because of the blizzard we mentioned. Well, obviously it would be impossible to shoot a movie in a blizzard. So what most of the snow that we see is that is burying the town, and you'll notice in a lot of the scenes that the snow looks really fucking lumpy because the snow is
Don't say it.
75,000. It's 75,000 pounds of potato flakes.
Oh, thank God! I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
No, it's all instant mashed potatoes.
Oh, thank God.
And that's why it looks so lumpy in some scenes because
You got wet.
it's just these piles of of potato flakes, or it would get wet on accident because it's off next to the road, and the roads were wet. They did shoot the film in the winter. They didn't have 2-foot high snow berms next to the highway, so it would all clump up.
I mean, some of it looked real. Some of it, yeah, like you said, it looked clumpy.
Well, some of it, a lot of it is snow. It just, for some of the scenes, especially towards the end, when they show them coming back into town, when Bill is hitchhiking and he gets in the car with Vic and his crony,
Yes.
and they drive into town, and then Alvin and Dave are chasing him on the carriage with Merlin.
Yep.
Those snowdrifts on the side of the road, those are almost entirely just massive piles of potato flakes. And you can see it. They're just lumps.
Oh, one thing before, like when they actually do manage to make it out of town on the sleigh with Merlin, and what do you call it? Nick Cage's character, I think Alex, right?
No, his character's name is Bill.
Bill, sorry, Bill. Bill actually finds out that they just set him up because Alvin's feeling bad and wants to give the money back too, and says we just set you up. There were no cops coming after you. You didn't leave your wallet. I have it here. And then he's like, fuck you guys, and takes the money. Is about to leave. He's looking for a ride back to paradise, and turns out he sees Vic, and he doesn't know Vic
Yeah.
because the people inside with Vic were Dave and Alvin, John and Dave, Lovitz and Carvey.
Yeah, and I love when he's on his way out. The first person he asks is he sees his truck driver. Like, hey, I'm trying to get to Paradise. You going south? Like, no, I'm on my way to New York. Where the hell were you 5 hours ago?
Yup. Right. And then when they're talking, like, have you ever been in love? Like, yeah, but probably don't feel as good as you do because he's feeling good. Bill's feeling good. He's gonna give the money back and he's doing something good. He's learned his lesson, quote unquote, from the people of the town. And then he brings out a picture. He's like, what's it called? You got a picture of the girl? No. What's it called? I got a picture of my ma, though. Oh, so do I. Let's pull them out. And then he shows them their ma. And then Vic sees it along with his crony, and he's like, I'm gonna shoot him. And they find out who his ma is, which is, what did you say her name was?
Florence Stanley.
Florence Stanley.
The character's name is Edna.
That's it, Edna. In the backseat, because you could hear her pounding on the car's trunk hood,
Yes.
and literally he's like, "What the fuck?" And then he runs out, and because they were about, how far did they get out of Paradise? Because it seemed fairly quickly that he got fairly close to him.
They never really say, but you figure a horse dragging a sled pretty much caught up to them within minutes. So even doing 30, let's say conservative 30 miles an hour down a icy highway, they couldn't have been that far out of town.
2 miles at most, maybe 3. But yeah.
And then, like, most of this movie takes place over the course of the night of Christmas.
Yeah.
So the bulk of this movie takes place in 6-7 hours.
Oh god, the last scene where they're all inside the mayor's house, they're talking about what's happening, they're confessing, they're trying to do what's right, and then Vic is just, shut up everybody, what the fuck's going on? And yeah.
No. My favorite scene in that is, it's one of, I think, the best lines in the movie, is when Bill sees his mom and he runs over there. Mom, what the hell are you doing here? Like, I'm being held hostage the night the baby Jesus was born. What the hell does it look like I'm doing?
Like I said, her delivery, goddamn. Oh, jeez. Like, what the hell's the name of that thing? Fuck. Like quote unquote.
Go. You finish what you were saying.
Like, quote unquote, the mouth on that woman, but at the same time, just that's not even enough of a saying for her, because damn, like, delivery, the attitude, everything, it works.
Oh yeah. But what I was getting ready to say is, there's a special character in the movie who we don't see a lot of. It's Tripod the dog.
Oh god, the dog's name was fucking Tripod. How cruel can you fucking be? I love that.
That's the dog's real name too.
No.
The dog was literally only put in the movie because one of the locals brought their dog when they were standing in the little off to the side where they were allowed to stand during filming, and they saw the 3-legged dog. They're like, we have to put that dog in the movie. The dog's actual name is Tripod, and so they left it as Tripod so it would actually respond to commands and stuff, because it's not a trained dog.
That is so wrong, though. God damn.
I love when the FBI raids their house, because this movie is actually set in the year 1994, so it is 2 years after a very important thing. Do you remember what the FBI agents say when they see the dog limping out of the house?
No.
Well, when Tripod limps past the 2 FBI agents in the smoke-filled house after they launch the tear gases in, they turn to each other and go, "We didn't do that, did we?"
Oh my god, no.
And that is a great reference and joke to something that happened 2 years prior, and that is Ruby Ridge.
Oh god, okay.
Which was all started off by the shooting of Randy Weaver's dog, and has since then, 30 years later, been a constant joke of the ATF will shoot your dog, which honestly, realistically, it is actually a doctrine for the FBI and the ATF. They do shoot dogs when they serve warrants and stuff like that, but only because dogs can often be trained to be attack dogs or guard dogs, and that's how they defend against it. It's not right. They're killing dogs, but it's a thing. They actually do come to your house and shoot your dog.
Shit.
So, but I just had to point out that they had a Ruby Ridge joke at the end of this movie.
Jesus.
Which would have been fresh in people's mind, when this movie came out. Nowadays, people would have to be reminded of it unless you're part of gun culture where we're always constantly making fun of the ATF for shooting your dog.
But that's I've heard of it happening like at other places. I was hoping it was just a joke, but then I actually heard stories about I got raided and then stuff happened and but
yep, nope, they do that. It's actually a part of when they raid you and serve warrants and stuff. They will shoot your dog on purpose.
Fuck, that ain't right. Dogs are pure. Dogs are nice. Okay.
Yeah, but people are the problem, and the problem is a lot of people train dogs to not be nice.
Fucking bastards. No. Okay, moving on. Back to the story, because after every... Oh, actually, we should also mention that the guys who sold the ski masks and stuff to Lovitz, Cage, and Carvey find out that those three have something going on, and they follow them, and there's a subplot where they're trying to steal the money too, and yeah.
Well, they had been deputized, so at first they're just trying to catch them, but when they first see, like after they get rescued when their car crashes, they see them going into Anderson's house. So then this starts the narrative in their heads of Anderson must have been in on it. I bet that he, then they kind of fade away from that and go to the trio sitting at dinner with Anderson and his family. And they bring up what the two deputies are talking about in their car is, what if somebody in the bank was actually in on it for the insurance money? Because everyone's deposit would be insured for up to $125,000. So you could claim so much money was taken and then get an insurance payout for more money because of that and then make profit off of you having your bank robbed.
I get it. Just basically fraud.
Yeah, and that's the narrative that's going through the two bumbling deputies' heads. So they figure, well, since Anderson stole the money, we can steal the money from him. He'll still get the insurance payout.
Which is still bullshit.
Yep. I don't know. I mean, this is a fun movie. It's interesting. Like Jorge said, it's a surprisingly traditional Christmas tale for a non-traditional Christmas movie.
And okay,
it is all about family and stuff. Although it does kind of go to something we talked about a few weeks ago in our Scrooged episode, where Christmas time is that one time of year where everybody treats everybody a little bit nicer, no matter what. So you figure this town is full of super nice people to begin with, and they're all being extra nice because it's Christmas time.
They see these guys 3-4 times already.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's the joke of the name of the movie. It's Trapped in Paradise. They're not actually trapped. They can leave whenever they want. But just every time they try to leave, something draws them back to town, or they have some kind of accident, and the people who help them just take them back to town because it's the local. Honestly, it's like a video game where every time you go off screen to go to the new area, something drags you back to the main area.
Kind of a bad, because you just reminded me, kind of a bad idea, but not bad idea, but bad memory of it, but kind of like whenever Heather died in Silent Hill 4, she would be dragged back by one of the monsters and then brought back to life, or in-game, that's the story, brought back to life, and you would play again from your save file.
Yeah.
Not quite as exactly what you're saying, but that's what it reminded me of.
No, this is a little bit more like going off course in Mario Kart, where the little cloud drags you back onto the course.
Yeah.
Or the puzzle that was so common in the NES days of the Zelda franchise, where you could perpetually keep going off screen and you'd never progress to a new screen because there was a pattern that you had to follow to actually go to a different area. Weirdly, the pattern was basically the Konami code. It was like up, up, left, right, left, right. Like all games use the Konami code, not just Konami games. I don't know, the only other information I have is I've got some weird trivia for Dana Carvey.
What do you got?
Well, for video editing nerds who are familiar with older types of video tech, especially the different types of PCS cards that go on the back of computers and such that made it easier to connect to multimedia back in the day of the 80s and 90s. Dana Carvey's brother, Brad, was one of the head engineers and designer of what is literally known as the video toaster.
Wait, did you say coaster C or toaster T?
Toaster with a T.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was just a program plus device that it allowed you to get multiple video sources for live TV and VHS and other recordings and stuff and stream them into one device for video editing.
Okay.
So there's that. Dana Carvey, for years, and especially 80s and 90s, he had a heart defect. And he had to have surgery. Yeah, a few years after this movie, he was having surgery to have that corrected. They actually did the surgery wrong, and they did the bypass surgery on one of his arteries that was not damaged instead of doing the one that was damaged. So he had to sue and actually won against the hospital for $7.5 million. And then they did the surgery the right way. And while he was recovering from that surgery, his neighbor in the hospital was Frank Sinatra, who died during Dana Carvey's recovery from heart surgery. So Frank Sinatra died in the hospital in the room right next to Dana Carvey while he was recovering from open heart surgery.
Oh, Jesus. Well, at least you got to meet old Blue Eyes.
Yep. It is the holiday time, and are we actually talking about a holiday movie if we don't accidentally, on purpose, talk about the bad part of the holiday time? And that is the fact that so many people get unalived at holiday time. Dana Carvey's son, Dex, unfortunately had an accidental overdose on November 15th, 2023. So very recently, near Thanksgiving, Dana Carvey's oldest son, Dex, passed away.
His name is Deck? D-E-C-K?
D-E-X. Dex, or I believe it's short for Dexter. I don't have much information on that. It's just one of those things I know. Dana Carvey's son, Dex, passed away from an accidental overdose. That's about it. That's all the dumb little facts I know.
I mean, just...
Oh, I got one for John Lovitz, because it's something we've talked about multiple times in videos before. It's the whole, if you're listening to something that's intentionally meant to be a joke, you're not allowed to be offended by it. And the whole cancel culture where people canceling comedians for the jokes they're telling and stuff like that. Well, John Lovitz actually famously went on an anti-cancel culture rant a few years ago. As one of his big quotes, which is so accurate for comedians and joke tellers, is, if you don't have the ability to laugh at yourself, then don't go to a comedy club. Because, yeah, like if you're offended by anything a comedian says while they're telling their jokes, why are you there? It's a joke. If you're at a show and a comedian is standing in front of you and they're talking into a microphone, they're going to say some shit that most people are going to find funny, that you might find offensive. You're not allowed to be offended. It's a fucking joke.
Hell, what's it called? I edit all of these podcasts. Before, I had the ability to literally edit out all of your Catholic jokes. But no, okay? Yes, I say, like, this is fucking horrible and shit. But no, I leave it in because it stands. How do I say it? How do I say it? What's it called? It's your opinion. It's your joke. Say it. Nothing is sacred, okay? Yes, I have a feeling about it, but I'm not gonna censor you, okay? What do you call it? Yes, I was fucking tempted, I won't lie, but what do you call it? It's not right, and I recognize it's not right, and it's one of my principles. I will stand by it.
True. Also, sometimes, especially some of the older episodes when I would go on the long rants, if you cut out all of my anti-Catholic jokes and humor, our episode would be less than 20 minutes long.
No, our episodes would be like 30, maybe 40 about. Because, okay.
Yeah, they wouldn't be an hour and a half long. You'd be trimming out at least 45 minutes worth of me just ranting.
Yes.
I mean, fuck, our Exorcist episode alone was, no, our Repossessed episode, the first 45 minutes of that recording is me going on a rant against the Catholic Church.
Not just going on a... Okay, we're not rehashing that. We're moving on.
We even point that out in our recording. Like, goddamn, we're 40 minutes in and we haven't even talked about the movie yet.
Because you literally kept talking, and then I'm like, no, this is right. Stop being a dick. I'm correcting you. Moving on. Okay, look, my point is...
At least I'm willing to be corrected.
Look, my point is, nothing is sacred, and that honestly should extend in some way, shape, or form, not to I mean this kind of, not because it's really, really hard politics, and I mean that because it shouldn't just be partisan, it shouldn't just be people like, I feel this way and that's correct, and shit. No, it's people have different ways of feeling and different opinions on shit. That's the way the world is. If you think only one position is correct, then that's fascism.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, everybody's allowed their opinion. You can have a wrong opinion. It's your opinion.
Yeah, I mean...
I'm allowed to have a wrong opinion. Most of my opinions are wildly wrong. It's still my opinion.
Yeah, I mean...
And then, of course, it's another important thing, which I believe we've mentioned before in one of these recordings, although I don't think we've posted the episode that we talked about it in, is a lot of times when we're talking... in these recordings, we say things that are a bit extreme, especially me. But even Jorge occasionally does.
Yeah.
It's an important thing that we want people to understand about it. That these personas that we're doing, which that's what they are, when we are doing the podcast, as the host of this podcast, as these presenters, it is the ZeroPoint Shaun and ZeroPoint Jorge. Those are characters. That is us ratcheted to an extreme. Yes, a lot of what we say is things we believe. We don't believe them as hardcore as we're saying, because it's the shock factor, it's the funny factor, it's the humor, it's all of that. A lot of times we are ratcheting ourselves up to an extreme. Our personality does leak out. That's kind of what makes this so fun for us, is we get to just be our unhinged self. But that's the thing. It's our unhinged selves, our uninhibited selves, our uncensored, unchecked. We're saying what we want to say because this is our platform to say what we fucking want to say.
Exactly.
That does not 100% mean we feel that way.
Exactly.
Now, do I absolutely disrespect the Catholic Church? Yes. Do I disrespect it in my personal life to the degree that I rant sometimes on this podcast? No. Like, I won't walk up to you and to your face say you're absolutely wrong for being Catholic, because everybody has their belief. Everybody needs that thing to believe in. I get it. I understand it. I don't hate Jorge because he is Catholic. He's not as devout as he was when I first met him, but that's never been a part of why I don't like him. I love Jorge. He's one of my closest friends. He's like a brother to me.
Thank you. See?
That's going to be our one thing we differ on. He's more religious than I am.
And what's it called? I love Shaun. He's an asshole in a lot of ways, including the jokes he makes, but he also is someone to talk to. He's a close friend. He helps me out when I'm in need. I help him out. I mean, it's a mutual good relationship.
We're friends despite our differences, and we understand. We give each other a hard time because it's a joke.
Exactly. I mean, that's part of the whole point. It's a joke. If you take life too seriously, you will end up, unfortunately, in the realm of wanting to leave this world. And you know what I'm talking about, euphemism-wise. It's very important to understand and find the good, find the happy. Whether that be religion, whether that be going to golf every Sunday. Like, some people have their own rituals, but you know what I mean.
And I believe that's why so often with the channel, with the podcast. We drift more towards comedy movies. We like the jokes. We like feeling uplifted. We like being able to turn our brains off and laugh at things and see the satire and the humor. Because if we just sat and watched documentaries, or if we watched super serious drama movies all the time, they would probably break us.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't be serious all the time. You gotta have some funny in your life.
We had a couple of episodes there where they were comedy movies and we got serious, or they were kind of serious movies and we got like political-ish, quote unquote, but there were still some comedy there. Go ahead.
Yeah, we find the funny even in the serious movies, because a lot of the movies we watch aren't 100% serious. Even some of the comedies we watch have serious moments in them, so we can have a serious discussion about those serious moments. And that's important. You got to find the funny in things that are a little bit funny. You got to find the serious when things are serious. You got to have that balance in life. You can't just laugh at everything, laugh it all off like it's a big joke. It's not. Some things are serious, but you can't be super serious and take everything 100% to heart. Sometimes you just got to laugh it off and it's a joke.
Or take a joke from the serious because it releases the tension and you can at least, quote unquote, take on more that way and move on because you're releasing pressure, as it were. It's not all building up and killing you.
Yeah, and that's part of why, like, two of the most watched, well-known, and most informative news sources for most people, especially, again, in our age group, are things like The Daily Show and Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. Yeah. It's because they're a satirical look at serious issues. They find the funny in these serious issues. They talk about these things. These are super serious things, like the housing crisis, the rent crisis, and unaffordable food market prices at the moment now, efficient energy, climate change, even the controversies of the churches. Like, these are serious issues that they tell you about in a joking manner. They find the humor in it while still getting the important, serious information through, too. And I think that's why so many people gravitate towards them, is when you just watch the nightly news, it's so serious and it gets depressing just to hear about the horrors of the world, to hear how bad everything is. You need some jokes every now and then. You need to lighten it up a bit. So if you could tell me this serious information in a lighthearted manner, that makes me more willing to engage. I want to listen to it. And we kind of feel that with our podcast here. We talk about a lot of serious issues, but we make jokes. Or we joke a lot, but then we'll be serious about the thing we're joking about. Because it's that dichotomy of opinions, it's the diversity of how we feel about things. It's that interesting way to convey information that makes people want to engage. Because we get it. We are long format YouTuber. That means by definition, the algorithm fucks us. Most people don't want to listen to an hour-long episode, 2 hour long, 3 hour long. Yeah, we've got one that's almost 4 hours long that we posted.
4 hours and counting, but yeah.
And people do watch it. You know, if you have to pause and come back to it, fine. Pause and come back to it. We get it. We talk for a long time. And we're rarely on topic. Sometimes you got to bounce around to stick with us.
I mean, hell, what's it called? It's part of who we are, the bouncing around. We present ourselves, yes, it's larger than life, quote unquote, versions of us, but we're as authentic as we can be.
Yes, and we both absolutely suffer from ADD. Staying on topic and focus on one thing literally drives me crazy. I have a hard time staying on task. I do it at work because I get paid to do it at work. I don't get paid for this. This is my hobby. So if I'm going to go off topic every fucking chance I can because, ooh, shiny fucking squirrel.
Bruh, okay, how do you think I fucking feel? I have to edit all this shit together. I mean, I literally do not touch most of what we talk about, okay? But some things just don't make sense, or some things literally didn't get caught by the mics. And then I have to put it all together in a way that makes sense, okay? It's annoying. I can't fucking do this, but I do it. And I don't get paid.
Yes, Jorge is the absolute glue that holds this channel together because of the fact that he edits this nonsense together. And I absolutely think I cannot diminish how much work he puts in. Like, yes, I do the social media, which is hard enough because I have to try to think of spontaneous things to put in and little captions and find pictures and stuff. He's finding the pictures to put in for our slideshows. He's editing down the video, usually cutting out my nonsense rhetoric that I just go way off on tangents about.
Not always.
He's trying to put it in a presentable form. He's boosting audio levels for when we mumble or we turn our heads away from our microphones because neither one of us can sit still for 5 fucking minutes. It's a lot of work that he does. And he does it because this is a fun project for us. It's all done in our free time. What little of it we have. And I will admit, he works infinitely harder than I do. He deserves as much respect as possible for it. I just try to come up with topics and my dumb little history and fun facts about stuff that I watch. Because I've watched way too much movies, way too many TV shows, and I know a ton of information considering I know nothing.
I mean, what is it called? What's it called? Being a... What the hell is that thing called? Jack of all trades is good, but no.
Yeah, Jack of all trades, master of none.
That's it. There you go.
I think that describes me pretty well.
Jack of all trades, master of none is better than being a jack of one trade and mastering... No. I forgot how it goes. Jack of all trades, master of some is better than being a master of one. Something like that. That's it. Yeah, that's it exactly.
Yeah. Again, like I know you get hyper focused when you're doing your job too, your actual job, because again, you get paid for that. We can control the fact that we can get off topic, but you people have heard the episodes when we don't drift off topic, when we stay on topic the whole time and we just talk about the movie. They're dry as fuck. They have no personality. There's no humor. It sounds like we're reading a script even though we're just talking to each other because we cut out the banter. We cut out the randomness. Or we tried our best to stay on topic while we're talking so we don't drift off like that. And it doesn't seem like us. There's no personality. What little bit of ourselves we want to come through doesn't come through. And the extremity that we like to produce, it's not there at all.
Okay, and to be fair, in those cases, we actually do stay on topic. I don't cut stuff out in those cases. Just saying.
Yeah, but those are also the episodes that are like 30, 40 minutes long.
No, I agree. I'm just saying I don't purposely cut out the funny.
Oh, yeah.
There was no funny.
There'd be no funny. Or if there is funny, it's such a horrible joke that we both agree. No, that should be cut out. We shouldn't have said that. It was just the first thing that popped to mind while we were recording. And, we're both brown guys, but we're not that brown. Sometimes the first thing that comes to mind is very inappropriate.
I'm cutting that out. They don't need to know that. Shit happens, but if it's not recorded, it didn't happen.
True. And I think that's about it for tonight.
I agree. I mean, awesome movie. Good choice, dude.
It is an awesome movie. And honestly, we'll be honest about this. This part I need to stay in. The only reason we watched this movie is when I was trying to find ways to watch the movie we originally wanted to watch. I could not find a working streaming link for it, period. I couldn't find it to pay for it. I couldn't find it for free. I could not find the movie we actually wanted to talk about, which was The Long Kiss Goodnight. I just looked up a list of non-traditional Christmas movies, of non-Christmas Christmas movies. I saw this one on the list. I saw the trailer. It reminded me of, being a kid and watching this movie. So I told Jorge, hey, this one's on Tubi. We'll watch this one because we could watch it. Since tonight is another one of the few times that we've had to record remotely, so we had to watch the movie separately ahead of time and record from notes, which, we don't do that often. We like watching it together in person and then just riffing in the moment on how we feel immediately after the movie ends.
Agreed. It's usually a lot better. All right.
But that is it for tonight, people. This has been another one of our holiday episodes. Not too many of these left. It is almost Christmas time. We're going to say goodbye, good night, and be good to one another.
Keep the faith. Have a good one. Night, everybody.